to support you as much as we can to develop tools and processes and approaches to corruption or anti-corruption and accountability and transparency in Kenya and Uganda. The Accountability Lab is, and you'll meet the rest of the team shortly, is about 8 years old, and we work all over the place, including in a number of countries in Africa. And we're really trying to make governance work for people. That's our ultimate vision, making sure that people in power are responsible to citizens, and building a new generation of active citizens and responsible leaders, such as yourselves, because we really think it's all about you. You're the people with the good ideas. You're the people that can make the change that needs to happen. So we need to support you to do that as best as we can. And I think there's very briefly, three things that make the Accountability Lab a little bit different, maybe, to some other organizations that you might have been involved with or seen working in this area. One is that we're very positive. Everything we do is extremely positive. It's very solutions oriented. It's all about good people and the right kinds of work, not the bad people, not the problems, and not enforcement and compliance. And we think that makes this much more fun and interesting, and fills us and everyone else with more energy to do this work, because sometimes, as you know, you really need deep reserves of energy to work on accountability and transparency. The second thing is we really love building what we call unlikely networks. And so what we mean by that is getting really different kinds of people into the conversation. So we do a lot of work with musicians, for example, with filmmakers, with creatives of different kinds, with technologists, with activists, and really amazing, thoughtful civil society leaders like yourselves, because we think that's where the magic happens. If we can bring people together that are approaching these challenges in different ways, then new ideas will be generated and new approaches will be formed. And then thirdly, we talk a lot about now what we call insider-outsider coalitions. And what we mean by that is we're working with amazing civil society activists like you who are on the outside, but we're also working with reformers within governments, and trying to connect the two together, because I think that might be where some of the change can happen. You know, it's not just demanding change, it's also working with those that can supply it to make sure that it can happen. And the Incubator is one of our very first programs. It's really one of the best and most important parts of what we do. And we've been running this program for about 7.5 years, all over the place. It's now in 5 countries. And of course, normally it's in person. And we meet with groups of about 10 young, amazing activists from these countries over the course of a year, and provide what we're going to provide to you too: a lot of networking, a lot of skills building, a lot of experience sharing, as much support as we possibly can to the accountpreneurs, as we call them, accountability entrepreneurs, which I think you can call yourselves, and really help them build the very best ideas for accountability and transparency. So this is the first time we're doing this virtually, so we're very excited about it, and to have you as the group that helps us test this and learn and improve. And we're very thankful to Margaret and the Ford Foundation for allowing us to do this. I think it's going to be an amazing journey. We're really, really excited, as I said, to be part of this with you, and we'll see what happens. I think there's going to be some amazing ideas, some amazing relationships, and some fantastic change that comes out of this. So thanks for being part of it and for having trust in us, and I think you'll get a lot out of it, I hope. So thanks, Mahmoud. And should I hand it over to Margaret just to say a quick hello?
Yes, please. Perfect.
Yeah, good morning, good afternoon, everyone. I'm delighted to be here this afternoon. For those of us who are in East Africa, for those who are in the US, some morning, I know, and we say pole. Pole means we are sorry for making you wake up so early in the morning. We actually very delighted to partner with the Accountability Lab. And for those of you who do not know much about Ford Foundation, Ford Foundation is a social justice foundation. We work in 10 regions in the world, and the 11th region is the US. And when we talk about social justice foundation, we envision a world where there is equity, there is equality, and everyone is able to access justice equally throughout the world. And one of the things that we have identified, and this is, we identified with a couple of partners, is that for us, for the government to work for the people, then the government has to be accountable. And one of the things that we are doing in East Africa, we are looking at how do we work with individuals, civil society organization, government institutions, and people with ideas to transform the East Africa region into making governments work for the people. And one of the things that we've identified is systemic corruption that is deeply rooted right from individuals to, to government institutions. So the questions we are asking ourselves daily, how then do we encourage institutions within the government, institutions at East Africa community, institutions at Africa level to respond to corruption and hold governments and public servants and individuals accountable. Secondly, we are looking at, our second outcome is building alliances and coalitions. And these alliances and coalitions from unlikely partners, coming from individuals, activists, CSOs, faith-based organizations, name them, to come together and say enough is enough as far as corruption is concerned. I'm sure those of you who are based in Kenya and Uganda, you'll agree with me. Even as we are speaking right now, those in Kenya, there are billions of COVID money that cannot be accounted for. But the question we're asking ourselves is, then how can we become responsible enough and ask those people who have been given the responsibilities to hold this money on behalf of citizens to account for it? Thirdly, we are looking at a civic space. You'll realize that even as countries like Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania have gained a lot of democratic progress, have made democratic progress. Right now, we are in a space where there's a lot of going back, or rather, we are losing a lot of what was gained many years ago. So the question we are asking is, then how do we continuously empower citizens to ask the right questions, whether it is on accountability of the government, whether it is on accountability of public servants or accountability of individuals? How do we make sure that you have, this continues to have the fundamental rights, access to information, access to, to assembly, and we are talking about the fundamental human rights. And finally, we are looking at protection of human rights defenders. We know sometimes it becomes very murky for activists because they have the courage to mention what others cannot mention. And because of that, we also want to be conscious that those very same individuals who are very active in coming out on behalf of other citizens can be protected. So one of the outcomes is really offering that protection to human rights defenders. So we are really excited. We work with several youth-led organizations in Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And I can see Nerima Wako is around. Siasa Place is one of the organizations that we work very closely with. And our belief is that young people have the ability, they have the capacity, and young people are able to connect right from the community level to the national level. And young people have the tools, and the tools are in form of the technology. So we are looking more into encouraging even civic technology to continuously raise some of these issues and really build capacity of even our communities in spaces like Kenya, where there's a lot of ethnicity, that citizens have been blinded by ethnicity and they cannot point out corruption issues, because they are trying to also defend their own tribal or ethnic gods, who honestly do not have any, do not even care about the very young people who that we have. So I'm hoping that this is going to be an awesome journey. I'm hoping that the 10 of you will go through this training, are going to become our next level of activists. You're going to build, you know, capacity of other young people, and that you are going to stand boldly and come out and mention things that are not right, that are happening in the communities. And this comes with a price. I want to tell you that it doesn't just come with that, it comes with a price. And I pray that you will have the strength, you'll have the courage, you'll have the ability to stand out and be counted. And that in your lifetime, you brought about change, whatever small that change is. Thank you so much, Blair, Mahmoud, Sherry, and the accountability team for this partnership. And we look forward to seeing how this is going to work. Thank you.
Thank you, Margaret. I really appreciate that. And I think on behalf of the lab, I can definitely say our goal is really driven in making sure the journey covers so much of what both you and Blair spoke about, building the networks, finding the positivity, and also making sure that we build networks that give us the strength to do a lot of this. So thank you for that. We've also started just by creating a small network of our own, and we're working with two great organizations in Kenya and Uganda, Siasa Place and the Evidence Lab. We have Nerma here from one of them. Could I call on you just to introduce yourselves if you're on the line, Nerma? Hi.
Hi, everyone. Hey. I'm sorry I could not play the game, man. It was getting so confusing for me, and my memory is so bad. So I just like kept quiet, but it was so good to hear all of you guys introduce yourselves. So yes, I am Nerima, and Siasa Place is a youth organization that focuses on meaningful youth engagement. So we push for youth inclusion when it comes to policies and governance. And we've gotten so much support from Margaret and Ford Foundation. So for her to say that they believe in young people, they really, 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 really honestly do. And our program with Imara focuses on young people being educated on social accountability, but we mainly train them on policies. And so even with that, during this period, we've seen so many results. It's amazing. So I know even out of this engagement, I'm pretty sure with the new members on board, congratulations. And I'm sure even after this training, you're going to be able to utilize the information that you receive. I'm so excited for you. Some of you I know, and looking forward to getting to know those who I have never met before. And thanks, and good to see everybody.
Cool, thanks, Irma. Just a very quick round of introductions from everyone from the lab, and then we'll hand over to our amazing accountapreneurs right after that. So everyone from the lab, Sherry, Sheena, and we don't have Jean anymore, but you guys for sure.
Sure, I'm happy to go. You just want a brief introduction from us?
Yes.
Yeah.
Please.
Hi, everyone. My name is Sherry Erasmus. I'm the Director of Learning at the Accountability Lab based out of our Washington, D.C. office. And I'm really excited to be here and to also pop in different sessions throughout the incubator to work side by side with Mahmoud.
Including a session today, by the way. So she'll be working with us through the session on accountability.
Riveting stuff coming up. Stay tuned.
Hey everyone, just quickly, I'm Sheena Adams. I'm the Communications Director at Accountability Lab. And yeah, looking forward to getting to know everyone. I'll be reaching out to get some of your stories to help tell the story of the incubator online. And yeah, also very excited to be here.
and also likely to be leading some of the sessions on comms in particular. So we'll be hearing from Sheena as well. Okay, fantastic. So that having been said, I'd love to now, I know that on the LMS, there was an opportunity for all of our accountapreneurs to introduce themselves and talk briefly about their project. I'd love to now turn that into a similar introduction. I want you to take just a minute, tell us your name, tell us about your project, and tell us what's driving your passion for the project. And maybe right after, I'd love for you to answer questions in the chat pod, or just take one or two questions from everyone here as well. So this is over to you and us taking the time to get to know you. We're going to go in an order that I sort of put together, and I'd love to begin with Damaris. Could we start with you? And I ask you, I'm going to be calling time on this, so you can really take just 2 minutes to introduce yourself. So I'm going to set a timer on my clock to make sure that happens, and we are not overgoing time.
All right. Okay, so just a minute. Don't know what's happening.
Damaris, you're connected from 2 machines. Can you mute one of them completely? Both output and input on that, please.
Can you hear me now?
Loud and clear.
Okay, so my name is Damaris Aswa. I work for Kesho Kenya organization. Kesho Kenya is an organization that is based in Kilifi County with a mission to advance access to education and empowerment opportunities for young people living at the coast of Kenya. We envision a coast of Kenya where all young people are educated, fulfill their potential, and explore the world, regardless of their gender, religion, and any other special needs. I'm working here as a project officer for a project called Students Acting for Honesty, Integrity, and Equality. But basically, my project idea is about uadilifu jangwani. Uadilifu jangani. In English, it's integrity in pandemic. And I'll just talk a little bit about Kilifi. So Kilifi is a population that has 27% in the rural area, and we have about 17% in the urban area. When you look at academically, we have around 52% who have primary level of education, but we have 36% of residents of Kilifi County who don't even have formal education. So these inequalities in our county has led to the population having a lot of discrimination. Most of them, they don't even participate in governance and opportunities. So due to this, you'll understand that in a situation that we have pandemic like right now, it's not just about ignorance, but because we have illiteracy levels among them, most of them, they don't understand properly what they're supposed to do in the current situation. And my project, Uadilifu Jangani, is inspired by that. And I'm looking forward to empowering
20 seconds, Damaris.
Communities. Sorry?
20 seconds to go. Now 10.
Okay, so the project is looking forward to empowering grassroots communities for them to understand more about the current situation and how to prevent themselves, knowing that it's all about protecting yourself and protecting those around you, and ensuring that we understand how to encounter the challenges that come along with the pandemic. Yeah.
Thanks, Damaris. Fantastic. Any questions or thoughts, anyone, that you'd love to share right now? You're welcome to use the chat pod or just jump in verbally. Cool. Okay. Just so you know, Damaris, by the way, there's also the chat pod that's on the LMS, and I think we're going to be using both of those to continue these conversations. Blair's got a comment there, and you're welcome to share quick responses and comments or thereafter with anyone that you get an opportunity to connect with. Thank you, Damaris. Really appreciate it. Virtual round of applause for you.
I think there's a question there for me.
Yeah, go ahead.
How will you empower people in the community? Right?
Yeah, go ahead, answer that, yes.
Okay, so the entry point for this project is through formation of integrity, for formation of youth groups. So empowering will be done through these youth groups. We'll be equipping them with knowledge on community integrity building and how to actively engage various stakeholders within their communities. Remember that I'm planning to work with grassroots local members. So the formation will be in the local communities where now this information will be disseminated in the grassroots, and they'll be expected to identify various stakeholders who will form part of the joint working group to ensure that if there are any issues within their communities, they come together in a collaborative way to ensure that these issues are sorted out amicably. Yeah.
Cool, thank you so much. Okay, we're going to move on to our next participant, Rahima. Can you take over the mic, please? Damaris, thank you. Virtual round of applause for you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Rahima Namkose, and I am currently based in Kampala, Uganda, and I work with an organization called Reignite Africa. Reignite Africa is working to address unemployment among young adults in Uganda. And we look at unemployment as a youth issue because unemployment rates, although they are at 9.2%, and underemployment is it's higher, it's at around 23%. Over 85% of people suffering from unemployment and underemployment are young people. So, and Uganda defines young people as those under 30, between 12 and 30 years of age. And so we believe unemployment is a youth issue. And what motivated us to look at taking part in an issue connected to accountability is that during the lockdown, many young people lost their jobs. Everyone has been affected, but we felt that young people during this season have been some of the hardest hit by unemployment. And a lot has been done by government through the national task force, through the presidential orders in enforcing the lockdown and the curfews. It affected a lot of how young people were coping and dealing with COVID-19. And so one of the projects we're doing this season is we're implementing a project we're calling the Youth Voices Campaign. And the Youth Voices Campaign aimed at really amplifying youth voices because we thought young people's voices about how they were feeling during this COVID-19 season, especially during the lockdown, were almost non-existent. They were not taking part in, discussions or decision making because many were really dealing with a lot during that time. So the youth.
Rahima, 20 seconds.
Okay, the Youth Voices Campaign aimed at amplifying their voices about that. And why I want to implement the project, specifically I'm implementing around accountability and transparency, is that we think there's a lot they can learn from the presidential orders, and we want to actually generate case studies from some of the presidential orders that we will be diving deeper into with some of the young people we'll select for this project. And so we will teach them about accountability, but also look at their examples of the impact of COVID-19 to their livelihood and employment. And so we'll showcase that at the end of the project. I don't know whether I was actually very effective in explaining that, but I tried to keep time.
Cool. Thank you so much, Rahima. I'm sure we'll continue to refine all of our messaging through this process, but I'd love to open this up to questions. By the way, Damaris, there's a question that's been sent for you earlier. I hope you can take a minute to respond to that. the chat pod you should be looking at to respond to questions. But Rahima, questions for Rahima, anyone?
Oh, I have a question here.
Yeah, go ahead.
So one of the so I have actually, I could give two. One of them was the ban on activities by artists and creatives and its impact on the livelihood of young artists and creatives. So we can dive deeper into that by profiling an artist who actually has been directly impacted by COVID-19, because some of them have submitted their pieces to our Youth Voices platform. And so looking at that case and really thinking about how young people can think a little bit more about what government could have been doing more in terms of being accountable for their actions. Yes, COVID-19 impacted us all, but what are we doing to support the young people who have not had a livelihood for the last 6 months? So that's one example. We can look at the ban on transport for because we know a lot of young people are in the informal sector and they are in transportation. So those who drive taxis, motorbikes, the one we call border borders in Uganda, how did they survive for most of the lockdown season, the 3 to 5 months when they were not earning anything? So there are a bit of a number of presidential orders we can look at to like think about their impact to young people and what they could think about in terms of, holding government accountable for their actions and really the transparency processes in establishing some of those things.
Cool, thank you. That's a great example. And thank you, Blair, for that comment. I think definitely opportunities within the network right now to reach out and start conversations. So thank you. Innocent, do you want to go next, please?
Thank you so much. Innocent Reka is my name, and I'm from Masindi, that's the Midwestern part of Uganda. A community activist and also a founder to a community-based organization called Inspire Africa. So in this period of COVID, since March early this year, the country has been under lockdown, though some measures have been eased, and the work of CSOs has been limited, and also some of us as community activists, we cannot hold gatherings. So we came up with a project called Amplifying Community Voices, and in respect, I have to start up an online community radio that's going to tap into the digital population that's cropping up every other day and then. We see now the world digital population is over 59%, and Uganda's internet penetration is at 37.9. That's as of last year, September. So we believe if an online radio is created, more especially community online radio, is going to create a safe space for various community activists who are going to come up and be able to raise different issues that are affecting community people. And we believe this is going to extend, or it is going to pick up a bigger audience for the duty bearers to respond. So the online community radio is also going to increase access to information. Right now, government is implementing the ICT policy, and most of the ministries, departments, and agencies are going online. But as community activists, we have not yet tapped into such spaces. And most of the problems that affect, or that are as a result of mismanagement of offices, more especially local governments, because these are institutions that deliver services, do not get feedback from the community. So I believe this online community radio is going to be a space, it's going to be a platform that's going to amplify these voices and reach out the duty bearers, and also create a more responsive feedback. Yes. Is my time done?
Yes, it is, Innocent. A few seconds ago. You have a question in the chat pod. Can you read that and respond, please?
Currently, Uganda, it is 85% of the radio stations in Uganda are frequency modules, and starting them up requires heavy infrastructures, a lot of resources. So we have been doing sensitization in COVID-19, but this has been expensive for us as community activists, more especially who do volunteering work. So meaning it becomes hard for us to use these mediums. So therefore, that's why I came up with starting up an online radio station, which is a bit cost effective, but tapping into the digital community, and also this will also provoke the existing frequency module stations to tap into our work, because they would want to listen to our voices or expand most of these voices at either lesser cost or also or at a free cost, because we shall be offering them a more insightful discussion.
Amazing, Innocent. Thank you. That's great to hear. Next, I'd like to go to Sheila. Could we ask you to turn your mic on?
Oh, sorry. Hi, everyone. This is Sheila Ayebare from Uganda. I'm a women's rights activist, and I'm the co-founder and director of Mwanamke Law Firm. It's a non-profit law firm that advocates for women's rights. Our mission is to increase women's access to justice through offering free and affordable legal services to women. So my main goal in this virtual incubator is to develop an SMS system called Mwanamke SMS system, which will enable people in Ugandan communities to report any cases of women's rights abuse, such as domestic violence, child marriage, and rape. You know, there are many examples. And also, the people will be able to report cases of poor service delivery of women's services by community leaders. So as a law firm, we use this information to advocate for women's rights and to demand for accountability from community and government leaders in charge of delivering the women's services.
I didn't have to chase you for time, Sheila. Thank you very much. Anyone got questions on that? Questions for Sheila? Sheila, there's a question for you in the chat pod by Blair.
Okay,
Sorry, I didn't hear that response. I thought that was, I just want to confirm it was at my end, or did others not hear it either?
Okay, hi everyone, sorry. So I think I saw the question, I think asking about if the system is already up and running. Currently the system is not yet running. It's still
Sorry, Sheila, can you try once again? I know we heard that it's not yet running, but is it in pilot phase?
Oh, yeah, it's still in pilot phase. Yeah, thank you. Sorry about that. Yeah, I didn't see.
That's perfectly fine. Sheila, could I just ask you to make a quick note and maybe respond in chat and tell us what specifically you might be piloting at the moment, and there's a note from Blair as well for. Thank you. Thank you so much. Next, we'll move on to Brian. Okay, I don't know if we have Brian right now, sorry. So I'm going to change that to Harriet, please. Can we get Harriet? Can we get you to go?
Hello, everyone. My name is Harriet, Humorous Harriet from Uganda. I'm the Executive Director, Global Learning for Sustainability. And our vision is to have a generation that can lead individual, community, and global change, because we really believe that change begins with self. If you cannot change, you cannot change your world. So we ensure that our programs first deal with people within our institution themselves before we can go out and change. Our mission is to support and ensure that young people, especially young women and girls, have opportunities to acquire global skills and work together to solve common global challenges. So mainly focus on young people, and especially young people who are girls and women, because of our belief in systems and social structures that have left young women and girls behind. I'm really passionate about gender equality and leadership, and I'm also a budding feminist, because I believe that it is feminism that actually helps us to understand the gender inequalities that exist in our communities and how we can tackle them, right? From the root causes of inequalities that we are experiencing in our societies. Even accountability itself, you cannot separate accountability actually from these issues that we're all talking about. So my project is inclusion for the marginalized. Why? Because previously our organization has been, or is actually still implementing, a diversity and inclusion program, and it has opened our eyes to the different issues, inclusion issues that are affecting our communities. And I believe that we cannot have accountability without inclusion. So if people are left behind and we cannot actually identify those groups of people that are left behind, we cannot be able to account. So first, the project will be looking at the effects of
30
COVID.
seconds.
Oh my goodness. So we shall be looking at ensuring that people who are left behind during COVID in, for example, relief support, have their voices, and we hold leaders accountable. Then also we shall be holding government to account for the education. Right now there is no school that is running. Over 15 million children are out of school, and we shall have a campaign to ensure that the government can have a budget to ensure that young people can engage in digital learning, even with or without COVID. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Harriet. Questions, anyone? Okay. Okay.
Yeah, thank you very much, Blair. So actually, we shall be focusing on ensuring that children in schools have access to quality and inclusive learning. And we shall ensure that students can, hold government accountable. We shall train students and empower them to ensure that the government responds to the needs of the digital learning gap that we have right now. Like I said, we are not learning, but if COVID continues, does it mean that school will close forever? So after COVID, or even during COVID, we shall ensure that children can keep learning. Children that are not able to access education right now can be able to access education. using digital tools. And this will also promote inclusive learning, whereby some children are left behind because of their backgrounds, and the class they come from cannot really enable them to access education in such emergencies, or even without these emergencies.
Thanks, Harriet. Winnie, can we turn the mic to you now?
Yes, Maham, thank you. My name is Winnie Nyandiga. I am from Kenya. I currently work with, sorry for that. I currently work with an
Sorry, can you give me 1 second, Winnie?
Yes.
Rahima, I'm not being able to mute you, but I'd like to ask you to please mute yourself. We seem to have a little bit of feedback from your end. Rahim, and Winnie, your time's going to start over in just a second. Okay. Oh, well, that's one way to mute yourself. Okay, Winnie, over to you. Time starting now.
Okay. My name is Winnie Nyandiga. I am from Kenya. I currently work with an organization called 100 Million Campaign. 100 Million Campaign is a call to action for a world where every young person is free, safe, and educated. What we basically do is we support young people to be able to mobilize to end violence against children and young people, for them to be able to eradicate child labor. We're very also big on child labor, and also to ensure education. SDG 4 is also our area of focus. I'm currently the East Africa Regional Organizer, handling Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. But even over and above, under my line manager, who's the head of global activism, we coordinate activism across all the continents. My project for this program is a campaign that was inspired and supported by the inequalities that have come out very clearly during this pandemic. So, and also it is a global campaign currently, but to fit it into our political context, which is the Kenyan context, we have, in solidarity and partnership, we are working with currently 26 youth-serving, youth-led organizations to be able to address some of the issues that have, come up very strongly during this pandemic. And currently we are focusing on 4 areas. One is on the accountability on social protection interventions and use of public funds by the government. These are public funds that have been set aside to tackle COVID-19, ones that we have been able to receive through donors, either in kind, in support, or whatever form. So we are calling on the government to just come out and, we are seeking information.
Winnie, 30 seconds.
For them to be able to tell us how, these funds have been used. Our other area is police brutality. We have experienced high cases of police brutality in a bid of police to ensure some restrictions that came with the enforcing our curfew rules. And then the other one is education. We are looking at the inequality that has been brought about by the digital divide. And we are asking the government to ensure that every young person in this country gets opportunities and, quality education, even post-COVID. And the last one was on the sexual and gender-based violence, which is on the rise. So the campaign is in 2 parts. The first part is almost over, which was online mobilizations and engagement with young people. And now we are moving to the policy side of things, which would be an open letter to the president. And more importantly, just us following some of the demands that we've come up with from this campaign. That's it from my end.
Thank you. Thanks, Winnie. Questions, anyone? Winnie, there's a question in the chat for you.
Yes, I've seen the question is what are some of the lessons we've learned, and I want to say that one of the of the lesson that we've learned is that the strongest and the most compelling voice in any discourse that affects the young people are the young people themselves. So that has been one lesson that has come out. And then the other one is the power in solidarity and partnerships, because we would have done this project as 100 million alone, but I have seen the power in solidarity and partnerships. Young people just came out to add their voice onto this campaign and to, you know, just voice out, rather amplify the voice of our most marginalized and vulnerable peers who've been hardly hit during this pandemic.
Thank you, Winnie. Really appreciate your insights there. We're going to turn now to Derek. So moving on to Derek, please. Okay, again, I think we'll have to come back to Derek. We may not have him right now. Shamim, are you good to go?
Yes. Okay, thanks so much, Mahmoud. My name is Shamim Juma. I work for an organization called Center for Development and Peace, CDP. We are a youth-led, women-led, community-based organization that is passionate about engaging the communities for progressive development. And we engage different stakeholders to bring meaningful impact and development to the lives of the communities that we work closely through championing for good health, peace and security, good governance, and youth engagement through our pillars. And my project in this case, and why I feel like it's so very close to me, is the fact that I'm so keen to see how do we compel the government to open up budgets. And why am I saying this is since COVID came into play, we've seen a lot of funding being spent in response to the pandemic, funding from partners, donors, individuals to ensure that they get to cushion communities against this pandemic. But again, at the end of the day, are the communities being involved to actually know how much has been spent vis-a-vis the source of fund? For instance, what I just want to see is the county government of Mombasa, and this is just them coming out clean and just telling us this is what they've spent so far in terms of the periodic review that I feel like it's something that I should push them to put in place, because there's just so much that has been spent, and it will be wise for them to actually come out and tell us, like, this is so much that has been spent for the people of Mombasa in response to actually buying food during this time, making sure that we have enough cash for COVID, making sure that our health keeps on being supported during this time. And lastly, what I'm going to do is making sure that I work closely with the ad hoc committee that has been put in place in response for this pandemic. And this is headed by His Excellency, the Governor of Mombasa County. And he's being supported by different actors, including non-state actors, including individuals and other organizations that are actually in this committee. So basically, it's more of now, since April to now, there's just so much that has been spent. But again, as a citizen, we just don't know how much has been spent so far. And going forward, we also don't know if they'll get more funding from either approvals from the county assembly to actually continue cushioning citizens from the pandemic. Thanks so much.
Thanks a lot, Shamim. Questions, anyone? Okay, I'll just wait a second for a question. I think Blair's typing something, so I want to make sure if it's a question we can respond before we move on. Oh, cool. Thanks, Blair. I will make sure that we start forging these relationships as we start this process. So thank you. Cool. Thanks a lot, Shamin. We're going to move on now to Anne. Anne, you've been waiting some time, so you're next.
I was almost saying, and the first shall become the last. Anyway, my name is Androzo Samba, and I am from Mombasa in Kenya, and I work for an organization called Uzalendo Africa Initiative. And we nurture young people to be transformational leaders and active citizens of this country through constructive engagements on key African values, history, and the Constitution of Kenya. So my project is about social accountability and accountability in the COVID-19 funds. So the project is titled Wajibikaji Mashinani. This is a project that seeks to do an oversight of the public funds that were disbursed to the county government of Mombasa during the COVID-19 period. So during the COVID-19 period, the county government of Mombasa received a supplementary budget, and not just the supplementary budget, but they had other donations from friends of the county. So my project really seeks to audit the expenditure of the supplementary and other donations, and really to try and match them up to see whether what they said they were going to do is what they actually did. Because then you do realize that there are some legislations that were passed even without citizen participation during that time, which is a very crucial tenet of the Kenyan Constitution of 2010. So how I am going to be able to do this is through engagements, both online and offline. And I decided to include the online aspect because I do a lot of online work, and so we'll have what we call technology for social accountability. So from the physical side, we will form what we call accountability cells, and these are champions who I'm really looking forward to train so that they can track what the county government did through social audit or scorecard or whichever method we'll come up with. But then the online bit is to really strike a conversation as young people of this country on how the COVID-19 funds were, and the campaign is dubbed actually dubbed COVID-19 KE. But what I must also say is that we signed a social contract with the duty bearers when we voted for them. And for me, this campaign really was inspired by previous work we were doing as Uzalendo, because we were doing a campaign called Vijana Against COVID-19, where we were profiling young people's interventions during the COVID-19. Now, I felt like it's not enough just to profile the intervention, and it will be very unfair to actually do a self-audit on ourselves as young people, yet the people who are supposed to provide the services, because it's not like they're giving us for free, it is their duty, because by the virtue of being elected, they're supposed to give legendary services. And I feel like
30 seconds,
it is us to remind. I am done. It is us to remind them that this is what you signed up for, and if you do not deliver, then heads must roll. Thank you. Mm-hmm.
Cool. Thanks a lot, Anne. You'll notice Blair's already got a comment in there. It seems like easy opportunity for a partnership. So thank you, Blair, for sharing that. Any other thoughts or questions?
Hello?
Yeah, we can
Can you
hear
hear me, or I lost you? Okay, fine. Yeah, I see a question on how I'm going to identify the champions. We've been working with quite a number of young people and in previous programs, and they have been championing for this cause. So we'll rely on our partners and some of the young people that we've been working with. And then in Mombasa County, we have the Mombasa County Governance Network, which is a network of young people, both young people and civil society members who are doing governance issues. So we already have government champions, and then through the Beijing Platform for Action, which is something that we did early last month, we actually identify a cluster that talks about young women in accountability, and some of those young women will form part of that accountability cells, or what you call accountability champions. Blair, I hope I answered your question.
Thanks a lot, Anne. And there'll be lots of opportunities to take on questions after this as well. So, Shai, we got your answer there. Handing over to Brian next. Brian, are you good to go now?
Yes, Mahmoud.
Go, you have 2 minutes, by the way. You can turn your video off if it improves internet quality. Okay, am I the only one who can't hear Brian, or is it correct? Nobody can hear him. Okay. Brian, we may have lost you, and yeah, it seems like we lost him. My last check, I just want to check if we have Derek back on the line. The two people that we need to hear from, Derek and Brian. Brian, can you turn your camera off and make another attempt? No, sorry, guys. And I don't know if we have Derek either. He seems to be listening, and Derek's mic is working. So great, Derek, over to you.
Can you hear me?
Loud and clear, Derek. Go ahead.
Okay, that's good. So I'm Paji Derek, the Executive Director of Might Foundation Uganda. It's found in Kampala, and also the Executive Office of Art Technologies, or ATT Technologies. So with the nonprofit organization, that's Might Foundation, we strengthen world peace, human rights, and sustainable development at a national level. For this program, we want to implement a pilot project called Tuegate Youth Health Project, which basically means let's bring together youths to work on health issues, just in summary. So in this project, we want to organize district community social audits on health and grassroots.
Derek, I'm sorry, we've lost your audio.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
I don't know why I'm jumping on and off all the time. But we shall be organizing social audits and peace building dialogues, which will be platforms on health issues, where ministers, members of parliament, civil society, members, innovators, health officials will be invited to inform the community about health issues, in this case, COVID-19, and in future, another health pandemic, maybe Ebola. So
Derek, we've lost you again.
Hello?
Go ahead.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I think it's the headsets. I've gotten rid of those. So basically, we have social audits, peace building dialogues, and then the networks. These will be networks on health for youth at the moment. which will be bringing youth interested in health issues together. So far, we have 12,500 youths. And then lastly, we shall have a health technology, which will be a mobile app plus a website where youth and community members can download laws on health and also view the audits and peace building dialogues in case they have missed them, or imagine if a youth is in the United States of America and they want to follow a social audit in Kampala. Why don't they just see it online using the app or the website? Maybe just to go back.
Last 10
I
seconds.
think that's it at the moment.
Okay, cool.
Maybe what
Thanks.
motivates, maybe what. It's okay.
Okay, Derek. Anyone got questions for Derek? I know that Blair sent a couple of comments your way, but questions for Derek?
Okay. Oh. Okay. Yes, I think I've been referred some resources. I'll look at them. Thank you, Blair.
Thanks, Eric. Okay, with that, I'm going to hand back to Brian. Hopefully, we'll have your connection.
Yes, Mahmoud. Good afternoon, everyone. Mahmoud, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Great. Sorry for the network problem. Yes, my name is Brian Peter. I'm from Kenya, and I come from Kericho County. And here in Kericho County, I'm a founder of Kericho Youth Network. Youth Network championing for youth inclusion in political and decision-making process. We started this network in the year 2018, and we've been trying to engage the policymakers to try and involve young people in governance. And we've had good engagements with the counties, planning, and also participating in budget making processes. And this has been strengthening the accountability measures in the county, especially for us working with the different youth organizations in the county youth groups. So about my project, the project is entitled Voicing Empowerment and Accountability. With COVID-19, I think equally our county approved some supplementary budgets, and we've had reports in our engagement that there is sufficient of funds by the county government. And so this project is actually trying to engage the established challenges of trying to establish if there is the information flow and of accountability, and also to establish this kind of relationship between the government and also the citizens. Because by and large, what we wanted to voice out is that we must drive the people to demand for government to actually implement whatever that they have budgeted for. And I think with our engagement with the county assembly, for example, there's a project that we currently working with the surface, and I am one of the social accountability champions who are working with the surface. And we've had engagement with the county government, and quite frankly, we've seen the gaps. And that's why this project is actually trying to follow up on those funding that was approved for COVID-19. So the supplementary budgets, which take also working for the stimulus programs, and this project is actually established if there was money for money, and if the citizens were actually able to benefit.
Okay. Brian?
Yes.
Brian, I know that some of us had audio issues hearing you. And Blair has a comment for you. We couldn't hear you too well, but I noticed that you'll be doing some budgetary reviews, right? So no, you'll be monitoring country budgets. Those are the exact words. So I hope that there's an opportunity that we've seen within this community of connections that we can make and possibly work with people. And hopefully there's going to be a number of opportunities outside this network as well where we can connect you. I will share, Brian, have you shared a video prior to this? Yeah, so we'll make sure we share that with everyone as well, so there's opportunities to hear from Brian what he's talked about. Thanks, Brian. Okay, I know that we're all going to be taking a break at the moment. I just have one little thing to say as we work beyond this, and I'll open it up to others. It's great to see and hear such amazing stories about things that we can possibly be working on to become activists and really network and forge together on this journey. It really excites me to hear the amazing things that you've said about your projects. And I hope that all of the different lessons come together to support us in ways that, that help us leapfrog to the next level for our projects. With that in mind, I'm going to have the opportunity to introduce our next session as soon as we come back. But I'd love to ask everyone to take a 10-minute break, to stretch your legs, and come back at 32. So 32 minutes past the hour is when we'll start the next session on accountability. I'm hoping that everyone is able to connect back. We have two great facilitators, Sherry and Yako, that will be running that session for us. So we'll see you again in about 10 minutes. Also, any parting thoughts, if you could type them in the chat pod before you leave. I know people will be taking a break right now.